Welcome to Classic Screen Legend. Do you remember the 80s and 90s? Those nights when one romantic scene could keep you awake, one line of dialogue could live in your head for days, and a single poster on your wall felt like a promise? Today, we're revisiting the most handsome leading men of that era. The smiles, the swagger, the unforgettable roles, and how time reshaped those once iconic heartthrobs. Which one was your biggest crush back then? Don Johnson. Don Johnson is now 76, and his sun-kissed swagger, tousled hair, and sly grin still feel baked into the DNA of the 80s. Miami Vice made him the definition of cool. Sharp suits, fast cars, effortless charm. Today, with silver hair and deeper lines, he slowed down a bit, but that confident, roguish magnetism still shows up the moment he appears. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is now 60, and back then his sharp jawline and mischievous bad boy energy made him pure 80s to 90s pop culture, from Platoon to Wall Street. These days he looks more weathered and grounded, but the unmistakable smirk and bold presence are still right there. Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio is now 64, and his boyish smile and underdog charm turned the Karate Kid into an instant 80s imprint. Clean-cut, lovable, and impossible to forget. He's aged gracefully into a calmer, seasoned presence, and thanks to Cobra Kai, he's still winning over new generations while longtime fans get hit with nostalgia in the best way. Judd Nelson. Judd Nelson is now 66, and his intense stare and rebellious edge made him unforgettable in The Breakfast Club, defining the decade's bad boy attitude. Today his face is more lined and his energy more measured, but that sharp, defiant aura still flashes through when he speaks, like the 80s never fully let go. Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy is now 63, and his gentle eyes and sensitive leading man vibe made him one of the most beloved romantic faces of the Brat Pack era, especially in Pretty in Pink. With grayer hair and quieter confidence today, he feels more reflective than flashy. He's also built a respected career behind the camera, still connected to the kinds of stories fans grew up on. Anthony Michael Hall. Anthony Michael Hall is now 57, and his bright-eyed, awkward cute charm made him the ultimate 80s everyman in classics like 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. Today he's far from the kid audiences remember, more mature, tougher, and fuller in frame, but his grounded, likable presence still makes him instantly recognizable. Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman is now 54, and his expressive face, plus wild, lovable energy, made him a teen favorite in The Goonies and Stand By Me. Over the years, his look and style have changed dramatically, shaped by fame's highs and hard battles. Still, he keeps returning to the spotlight, determined to keep that 80s legacy alive. James Spader. James Spader is now 65, and his cool smirk, sharp features, and silky voice made him a uniquely seductive presence, whether in Pretty in Pink or later in Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Time has changed his face, but the real signature remains, that intelligent, slightly dangerous charisma that comes through instantly. Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton is now 79, and his piercing gaze and old-school elegance gave James Bond a more serious, romantic edge in The Living Daylights. Today he's aged into a distinguished, classic look, quieter, gentler, and refined, like a leading man from a timeless era. John Stamos. John Stamos is now 62, and that thick hair, bright smile, and Uncle Crush charm made him explode in the late 80s on Full House. He's older and more relaxed now, with softer lines, but he still carries that photogenic warmth that made him a fan favorite in the first place. Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn is now 69, and his rugged jawline and intense, heroic energy made him an 80s to 90s action favorite in The Terminator and Aliens. Today he looks more weathered than in his prime, but the battle-tested charisma that defined his roles still feels unmistakably real. Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline is now 78, and his handsome sophistication plus effortless charm made him stand out, especially in A Fish Called Wanda, where he blended comedy with true leading man appeal. With white hair and a stately presence today, his charisma hasn't disappeared. It's simply matured into classic elegance. Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is now 53, and his tall, square-jawed leading man look made him a 90s dreamboat, breaking big with Good Will Hunting and then owning the spotlight in Armageddon. Today he feels less boy next door and more seasoned, with a heavier, world-worn calm, but that serious, magnetic presence is still there. Matt Damon. Matt Damon is now 55, and his bright-eyed charm and relatable confidence made him a 90s heartthrob the moment Good Will Hunting landed. Today, with grayer hair and deeper smile lines, he reads more like a grounded family man than a young prodigy. Yet his warmth and everyman appeal still play perfectly on screen. Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser is now 57, and his soft smile, athletic build, and lovable hero energy made him a pure 90s icon, especially in The Mummy. His later resurgence gave his story a deeper emotional weight. Today his presence feels kinder, warmer, and more profound, earned through struggle and a comeback that hit audiences right in the heart. Christian Bale. Christian Bale is now 52, and his intense eyes and chiseled focus helped him evolve from youthful fame into one of the era's most magnetic leading men. Today he carries a more mature, serious look shaped by decades of demanding roles. He's never stayed pretty for long. His allure is discipline, danger, and depth. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme is now 65, and his split-kicking physique, sharp cheekbones, and action hero swagger made him wildly hot in the early 90s, especially in Bloodsport and Kickboxer. Time has slowed the pace and softened the edges, but that warrior confidence still lingers in his presence. Colin Firth. Colin Firth is now 65, and his refined looks plus quietly intense gaze turned him into a mid-90s breakthrough heartthrob, especially after Pride and Prejudice made the world collectively swoon. Today he's aged into effortless sophistication, understated, intelligent, and deeply classic. Thank you for watching. and for taking this little trip back to the era that made our hearts race. If you're watching this alone tonight, I hope this video still felt like company. And if you're watching beside someone you love, I hope you hold their hand a little tighter after this. Tell me below, which star stayed in your mind the longest? Like, subscribe, and join us again on Classic Screen Legend, where love stories don't end when the camera cuts.